Great. So welcome to Ecom Connect's Ask the Expert event. My name is Jennifer. So I'm actually the Ecom Connect community manager, and I'm a business advisor. And we have these sessions every month. So if it's your first time coming to one of our events, we have these Ask the Expert sessions every month where we have a new expert that comes in to help us learn a little bit about online marketing and just how to run and grow our e-commerce businesses. We also have a Get Inspired series where we interview successful entrepreneurs. And we have the Co-work and Connect event, and we have a network with the community event. So we have lots of great stuff happening. So if you haven't joined Ecom Connect already, I'll pop the link in the chat so you guys can have the link to join us. It's free. The community is really great. So we're going to start the session soon. I'm going to introduce our speaker today. We generally end up going over the hour. It's just these sessions are usually very interactive, and at the end we have lots of questions, which is really great. Throughout the session, if you have questions, you can pop them into the chat, and I'm going to actually capture them, and we'll get to the questions at the end after the session. So feel free to just, like, as your questions come, to pop them in there. At the end of the session, we're going to hold some space for Q&A. And we also have a quick poll for you guys to answer. It's really just like a couple of, like, maybe a minute it'll take you. It's a couple of questions. So when we begin the Q&A session, I'll just launch the poll, and you can answer those questions quickly. It just helps us to understand, how the session helped and what we can do for the future ones coming up. I believe that's all the housekeeping. So I'm going to introduce our speaker, which I'm really excited about. And I think this is one of our most popular sessions so far. The room is full. We're up to 43 people, and people are still trickling in, which is really exciting. So we have Vedh, and let me know if I'm saying your last name properly, Jagadish.
Yeah, that's a good first try.
Okay, good. So we have Vedh with us, and he's going to be talking to us about growing your business digitally for $0, which I think is something really exciting, because I really believe that there's a lot that we can do online without having to invest so much money at the beginning. So I really look forward to seeing what we're going to talk about there. Vedh has helped over 100 brands grow their business digitally. And I think we're in for an amazing session. So Vedh, I'll let you take the floor. Is there anything you want to share with us before we start? Or are you ready to just dive in?
Thanks for the intro. And yeah, I'm quite excited. I think on the chat to see different people from different time zones is quite nice. So I think that shows more about the e-com community itself.
We do. We have people from for me, it's 9 a.m. and then there's some people that it's like 8, 9 p.m. So we have a huge variety. So yes.
Oh, then I would definitely ask everyone, you can grab your maybe breakfast, lunch, or dinner as well and join in on the session.
Great. Thank you. Okay, good. So I'm going to keep an eye out on the chat if we have questions that come in. And I think we can get started.
Perfect. So I will share my screen. So I'll be switching between screens. And of course, anyone in the session, you have any questions, any difficulties, if you have like background noise from my end or anything like that, of course, Jennifer would be able to help you guys. So yeah, let's get started. So it's going to be a fun 1 hour. There's only one rule to it, and that is that I need it to be interactive, right? Because what's a session like this without having fun? And through the slides, you will also understand that digital marketing itself is fun, and that's the outcome that's what I hope everyone takes from this more than what they can do with the business, because that's what day in day out we as launchers at First Launch we love to do, right? And I think throughout the deck, everything that we discuss are mostly proven, tried, tested across brands across the world. And that's how we've been helping different brands, startups, enterprises to scale. And yeah, this you can consider as a sort of our secret sauce now out in the world. So yeah, let me know if my screen is visible to everyone. Maybe drop a thumbs up or maybe an emoji also to show how excited you are, and we can get started.
Yes, we see everything great.
Perfect. So let's jump right in, right? So why is the title, grow your business digitally with $0? So why digital, right? Consider that, okay, we are looking at a newspaper, right? We're flicking through the pages. We might go just to the sports section to see, who won the Grand Prix or who won Wimbledon, and just chuck the paper out, right? We don't necessarily consume every bit of content which is there on the newspaper, the advertisements which is on the newspaper. We don't actually, or the advertisers themselves do not know that, okay, looking at this particular advertisement or the clipping on the newspaper, this person has called and become my customer. And that is exactly why digital, and that is exactly where digital shines, where, as you see on the slide itself, right, the D in digital stands for data. And it's more so about how do you capture that data and how do you use it to grow your business. So across the session, I'll be running you guys across different tools that we use day in, day out to, and again, keep in mind that everything is a free tool, a free strategy, a free way for you to promote your business. So $0 is $0. Of course, now that you're joining in the session, I know you have internet, you have a fairly good maybe laptop or a smartphone that you can work with. But yeah, apart from this, it is for $0. And I think many of you are aware of this guy on the right, dude with the sign. So you might have seen him working with different brands and everything. And the irony for this, right? So you see, he's actually holding a board outside on the street, which you can consider to be offline advertising, but he actually got famous online. So literally his offline promotion also needed online help. And that's the power of digital. And we will jump right in with that. So when you talk about growth, when you talk about scaling your business, it's not just about, okay, I have, let's consider an Instagram page, right? And let's consider throughout the session that I have an e-commerce business. I sell footwear, women and men footwear, sneakers, whatever it is. We are selling footwear. So it's not just about, me building my social media profile, me getting traffic on the website, but there's actually a meaning to every action that we do digitally. And there's a feedback that you get that you can actually implement to grow your business. And that's where, again, First Launch, we follow this practice of having 4 stages. We call it 4 stages, 4 pillars of growth. So you have the identification stage, you have the ideation stage, you have implementation and innovation. So this entire deck, we will be walking through each of the stages to see what is it that we can do. And yes, let me know also in the chat if I'm going too fast. Jennifer, you can definitely chime in if I'm going too fast because I can't see the chat window at the moment.
I'll let you know, but the pace is great so far. So
perfect. So yeah, the first one is identifying, right? I mean, we know this particular clip, Mr. Bean trying to cheat off on his exams, right? So the idea here is when I start a business, so I've started my footwear business, I have a website, I see social media, great. I create a profile on all the social media channels that I can ever think of. And how do I start, right? So the best part about digital marketing is everything leaves a trail. And that is something you can now pick up on. And the best way to start, or the best way to have a goal for digital marketing, is look at what your competitors are doing. And the outcome from this is for you to understand what is the digital landscape, understand how are the consumers actually working with your competitors, how are your competitors promoting, are your competitors on all the social media channels, are they heavily focused on blogs, are they doing influencer marketing, are they working with YouTube stars, etc. So your competitors, when you're starting out, this is of course, your competitors are not just your competition, but they're a really good benchmark for you to look at. So if you see that your competition is doing this, so when you're starting from zero, that's a very good direction for you to head on to, because one, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? You don't have to run through the market to understand which channel your consumers are on, what sort of content works for your consumers. This is already done by your competitors. So digital is all about working smart and working smart with data. And this is the first stage. So with this, and I would definitely like if everyone, again, maybe on a brief note, start working with these as I go on through the slides. So you can just maybe think of 5 different competitors. So what we do with our competitor analysis is we pick 5 competitors, 3 local and 2 global. So I'm tuning in from India, right? So here I would choose 3 competitors, 3 of my competitors, hardcore competitors in India. And secondly, I would choose 2 competitors or 2 people who are in the same market offering the same services across the globe. It might be in US, it might be in UK, it might be in Australia, anything. So the idea here is I'm not just setting my steps for the next 1 year, 2 years. I also understand the market that, okay, so that's why if you see, these are aspirational brands. These are not just the brands that have been there in the market for a year or so, but brands who have actually paved their own way, built that community. So you can understand with the 3 local brands that, okay, this is how I can get my immediate customers, I can get the momentum. And the 2 global brands, you'll be able to see and understand how to scale from local to global. So that's why from start, we look at global brands also to understand the different things. And as I said, the outcome from this particular activity is 2 things. One is understanding the market possibility, understanding actually, okay, like the first level validation itself, what of digital marketing actually works for this market. How frequently do you have to post? How do you have to procure content? What content works for this audience? Do they spend more time on social media? Do they spend more time reading blogs? Do they consume a lot of video content? So that's something that you understand from market possibility as well as customer mindset, right? Like what channel is your customer going out if they have any bad experience with one particular competitor? Are they venting it out on Twitter? Are they actually pinging? I mean, these are again trails of what your customers want, and the solution is what you're providing. And that's what this leads up to. So to start with competitor research, we look at 2 things. One is the web part of it. The other is the social media part of it. So with the web part of it, I'll switch my screen. And again, after this session, you would definitely get the deck and also resources on what tools have been covered, what different hacks we go through. Jennifer, is my second screen visible?
Yeah, it is. It looks great. And just while you said that, I'm just going to mention, I forgot at the beginning, is that in Ecom Connect, we will share also the recording and the resources from this session. So good point to share.
Perfect. So yeah, so the first step is about understanding knowing the digital footprint of your competitors. So this is something where you literally connect your competitors to your customers and see how that whole cycle is working on. And there's, of course, as I said, digital marketing, a lot of tools, right? It's all about using tools, the data, and utilize and pushing it into your strategy, because there are so many different tools. I'm pretty sure most of the people in the chat would know of at least 15 different digital marketing tools. But the idea is, okay, how do you go beyond this? Once you get the data, which is the easiest part, how do you utilize it? And that's what I will run you through. So this is a simple tool by Amazon itself. So let's say my competitor is Nike. So let me run an analysis on Nike. Again, this is a free tool. If you want, you can take the free subscription also, but this tool is quite good with the free version itself. So if you see immediately, right? So if you remember the first point I made, you need to identify 5 competitors. So just by putting in one competitor, the tool suggests that these are all my competitors. You have StockX, you have Foot Locker, who've been doing good on the app front and everything. And the next step that you get to understand is actually how are they gaining the traffic? How are they gaining users? How are they actually attracting their customers? So this is what is going to be important next slide onwards, because that's where you implement these strategies, right? So quickly going through the report. So you get to understand, okay, if a person is going into Nike.com website, what are they actually consuming? So if you see, most of them are for Jordans. You have Michael Jordan related search queries that people are coming in for. You have Air Jordan, which is again a Jordan brand, which people are coming for, and you have Nike Air. So this is again the top 3 popular segments that the tool is able to identify based on the users coming in. The next is the keyword. So for my potential customer to find my competitor Nike, what are they actually searching for? So here, of course, Nike is a big brand, right? So they would definitely search for Nike, Air Force Ones, Air Max, Jordans, etc. But now, when you start looking at it from a hyper-local point of view, or from your business point of view, you would look at a lot more generic search terms. So what I mean by that is you would look at people looking to buy maybe something like a CBD oil online, or you would be having people looking at sustainable clothing, etc., which would be a lot more generic and not just brand related keywords. So that's where this search actually helps. The next one, which is also important, is this. So this gives you an understanding into what and how the consumers or your potential customers are actually interacting with the Nike website itself. So if you see on an average, the daily time that any user spends on Nike.com website is about 4.48 minutes. So close to almost 5 minutes, right? So a user is looking for Nike, say he's looking for Nike Air Max, they land on the website and they're on that website for 5 minutes. So that shows that Nike is able to engage people. That means maybe their content is good. They have a lot more shoes to offer, of course. So all these are now points for me as a new business, a new footwear brand market, to look at and say, okay, maybe I can have multiple products. Of course, that has manufacturing and ops included. Maybe I just have one product, but can I make my website more informational so that at least the user, at least the user who is coming to the website, if not buying my product, at least get some information so that that brand recall is there. And of course, this stat, you can see that across the entire globe, in the past 9 years, Nike's website is ranking at 363. So this is all countries, all continents put together. Nike is ranking at 363. So these are the stats. Of course, we are looking at Nike, again, really popular brand. So these might look quite impossible to achieve. But when you start looking at your own competitors, you start to see opportunities that you can actually back on. The next one is the competitor keywords for Nike itself, which again happen to be my competitors, right? So you have people looking at Ultra Boost, you have people looking at Pumas, you have people looking at Flyknit, which is again Nike's offering itself, and different keywords or competitors that you can identify and chart out your plan, which again I will be coming on to in the later slides. So this is just the identification stage where you actually identify, okay, what is the market and what are the customers, potential customers looking for. And then you have the social segment also, where you get to understand what are people talking on different articles, on different blogs, on review sites, etc. And again, you have Nike Air, Jordans, and Michael Jordan, and you have the different traffic sources. Of course, once you, even if you take a free trial, I think it's for about 14 days, so you get really good data. Of course, with the paid version, we get in-depth analysis, which our tools also connected. But this is definitely a good start where you get to understand amongst the competitors, right? You see that Dick's Sporting Goods has a lot more traffic onto the website than Nike. This can be for multiple reasons. Dick's Sporting or Foot Locker or even StockX doesn't only deal with Nike, they have all the footwear brands, right? So that can be one of the reasons. But again, as you do the tool, you get a lot more understanding to build your hypothesis and work with. And this again, you get to understand which particular locations are your consumers coming from. So of course, this again, Nike being a global brand, you have the entire world here, but you get to also understand the sense of where is the majority of traction and consumption happening for this brand. And you have different site metrics that on average, what is the engagement rate on the site? What is the bounce rate? Well, bounce rate is nothing but people coming into Nike.com and exiting the website without going on to another page. So I just go on to Nike.com, I scroll through, I don't click anything, I don't go to the next page or even buy anything, I just exit. So that's the bounce rate. And of course, once I log in, you'll be able to see again social, direct, and everything. So this is to understand the web part of it. And you have Spyful, you have SEMrush, of course, mostly SEMrush. SpyFu is also a great tool, but the point to note with SpyFu is it's available or it gives data based on the UK and US markets only at the time being. So Semrush and Alexa are really good tools to do your web research for competitors. So the next one is social research, right? So now you understand the gamut of search where you know what is it people are looking at, how is Nike actually engaging the audience on the website. The other part is social, because even if I can go back to Alexa, here you see social also acts as a channel. And to understand how that is done is where we have these tools. The outcome from this is to understand what sort of content are my competitors putting out, what sort of campaigns they're putting out. And one of the lesser known tools people not use unless they think it's purely for advertising is Facebook's advertising library itself. This is a completely free tool which is by Facebook. There's a misconception that only when you're running ads you can use this and everything, but it's not. You can, if you see I'm in incognito, I'm not even logged in, and I can view this. The best part about this, right, is even if you have trouble, of course, Nike is a big brand. I immediately got to know Nike as soon as I thought of a footwear business. But you're in a little more niche market, right? So what you can do is just type in the market you're in. So here again, I'll stick with the example of Nike shoes. And what this does is pulls up all the advertisements regarding Nike shoe from Facebook, which is being run in India. So if I scroll through this, the sort of insight that I get, one, what sort of campaigns I see, okay, people are talking about South India's largest footwear chain. So this is one I get as a creative input that, oh, okay, I can also go on a minimal outlook. It need not be jazzy, but on the flip side, you have this one on the right where that directly displaying the products as well. So as and when I go through the different ads and everything, I get to understand that what sort of promotions actually work on social media and what sort of promotions my competitors are actually running. Say, for example, if I can look at Foot Locker. So if you see, I get to know every advertisement campaign on Facebook. And the best part about this is you get to see placements that these brands are working with. So what I mean by that is I know that Foot Locker is not only running an ad on Instagram, they're running it on Facebook. And again, just to reiterate, even though we're looking at ads, and this is all about growing your brand from $0, the idea is you get an understanding of actually what works. So we might have heard of the Space Jam movie that just released with LeBron James also. So here, if you see this sneaker shop, or let me see what brand is, yeah, Foot Locker Australia. I completely missed that out. So Foot Locker Australia, they're actually riding on the Space Jam wave to sell Crocs. So this is something that I also get that, okay, I have to be topical. If that is something that actually ride the trend on, I should, because that gathers people's attention. And literally on this screen, I've never seen this screen before. My eyes went straight into Space Jam looking at that. And yeah, buying it, not buying it is a secondary thing. But I see that I like their whole, I like the way how they are actually pitching the brand, right? They're trying to be a little more acceptable. They're trying to be a little more friendly. They want to be in tune with the culture. And that's something that nowadays where you have a plethora of content on social media. This is something that you can actually use as a tactic to gain attention from the users on social media. Similar to this, you have Inflact, which is a tool to look at Instagram profiles and everything. You have TweetDeck, which can be customized to quite an extent where you get to have a complete view just to see what your competitors are telling about, or the other in terms of what your customers are talking about your competitors. So again, different tools, but these are most of the tools that we use, and few of the tools which are readily available. You need to create an account or anything. And again, I'm not running through every tool owing to the time constraint as well. But in the Q&A session, we can run through different tools also. So with this, if you see now me as a footwear store, I have an idea of, okay, I mean, I have an understanding of the market that this is what works. Okay, I can maybe go to Space Jam and people are doing that. I can have a few keywords there. I can target on these particular locations and everything. But you don't immediately get to execute, right? The whole idea of understanding your market and customer behavior is so that you can set quantifiable goals. Again, that's the difference between digital marketing and the traditional way of marketing and advertising, is that, of course, you would set goals, but the idea and the benefit here is that you get immediate feedback. Right from you hit publish on your first post, you get to see how many people have seen it. You don't have to wait for your quarterly revenues to come in to see exactly how much this campaign has contributed. You will exactly get to see which post has contributed to what revenue, which blog has contributed to what revenue, everything. And that's the whole idea of the ideation stage, where you use the data to come up with something constructive and align them with certain goals, because it's not just about putting out content. I put 60 posts on social media, I write 80 blogs on my website, and if it's not adding up to a goal, it doesn't make sense. So that's the ideation stage. And yeah, this famous quote, I fail to recall who is it by, but I think it was a movie quote if I'm not wrong. So it's basically that you have an army, you have a paid to hire army who are at your disposal, and if that army doesn't have a goal or a mission, it's just a crowd. And that's exactly what the meme also tries to showcase, that yeah, we know that, okay, this is what we want to do, we want to run ads, we want to do this, but how to do it is something where the ideation is why the ideation stage is important. And broadly, and again, each stage is connected to the other, right? So when the identification stage of identifying the web and social presence, you ideate it as.
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. Hello, I can hear you.
Oh, Vedh?
Yes, Winglow.
Sorry, let me just. We lost your voice a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell me where you lost me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now you're back. Now we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Do you want me to go through the slide again?
I don't think so. I think you're back now. We're good. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, so the approach that we'll be breaking down to would be on search engine and social media. So search engine is keyword research. So that's literally what your prospective is searching for to find you as a business as their search. Content planning, of course, based on the research and based on us identifying the market. We plan out what content is to be there for search engines, which is your blog, which is individual pages. So if I have one sneaker on my entire website, I need to understand what sort of content I put, how much of keyword do I have, and if it's just one sneaker that I have, I can actually double my content work, so that way I have more pages to show for. And then you have social media, which is media planning, identifying the media channels that you and content strategy, which is again planning the content for your social media channels that you've chosen. Hello.
Hi, Vedh. Sorry. Can everyone just make sure that you're muted? Because I've been going through, but there's still some people that are unmuted, and it's interrupting the presentation. So if you can just take a look quickly and make sure that you're muted, that would be really great. Thank you. You can continue, Vedh. Sorry about that.
Thank you. No problem. Yes. So one thing that you see common across both, right? So content is common, and that's because your entire digital marketing rides on content, because content is the touch point between the business and the customer. And doing your research, trying to understand what content actually resonates with your audience is the game changer, right? Because again, if you see, all of these are tools that everyone has access to. Yeah, one, they might not know how to use it, or they might not be aware of it. But the whole game changer is how do you use it and how do you make an impact, and the impact you make through content. And that's why it's common across any digital touch point. So even if you're doing an email campaign, you need to make sure that your copy is really good so that people actually open your email. So keyword research, again, just quickly on through what keywords are. Keywords are literally search queries that people are putting up on Google. So go to google.com and search for buy white Nike sneakers online. So that's a keyword right there, right? So the whole idea is to find out what are the different things that people are looking for, which your business is the solution for. And the key here, everyone does keyword research, but the key here and what we've seen that works is forming keyword categories, or what we call keyword clusters or keyword clouds, where you start grouping the keywords together. So if I'm talking about, say, me as a competitor of Nike shoes, I would look at, Nike Air Jordans, Nike Michael Jordan, Nike Jordan, Air Jordan 5, Carhartts, Jordans, everything as one category of keywords. So I have 5-6 keywords, but everything belongs to the Air Jordan category. So how this helps is when I'm writing content, if I'm writing content about Jordan's pair of sneakers, or the latest release or anything, I can use these keywords very well without having to repeat it and without having to make it very difficult for the person to read when the word keeps repeating. And now imagine I have Jordan as one particular category. Then I can have your Air Maxes as one category. You have Flyknits as one category. So I am spinning different keywords that will eventually lead to the solution of, okay, people are looking for Flyknits, people are looking for Air Jordans, Air Force Ones, etc. And the tool that we use is Google Keyword Planner. And of course, for that, you need a Google ad account and everything, but you can create a Google ad account also for free. You don't need to run ads. What I will use for this session is Uber Suggest, because I don't want to log into my Google Ads account. So I'll run you quickly through Uber Suggest and say as simple as I just search for Nike shoes. Ignore the pop-ups because this guy is, quite the marketer himself. Yeah. So once you search for Nike shoes, here I see that on an average, so search volumes is mostly for a monthly span, 1 million searches happen in the US containing the words Nike shoes. And this is also telling me if I were to run ads, then every time a person searches for Nike shoes, sees my ad, clicks on it, me as an advertiser have to pay $0.65. The SEO difficulty, basically people searching for Nike shoes. How easy or difficult is it for you to rank on the first page of Google, right? So literally if I'm searching for Nike shoes, so here you see ads on the right-hand side, here you see Nike shoes. Of course, Nike is a big brand, as we know, so they start ranking. But imagine a smaller brand, right? So how do you come to position number 1? Because we all know, I don't think any of us go beyond the second or third page of Google, right? Unless you're really desperate, that's actually when you actually go to the second or third page. But Google's algorithm over the years has been really powerful enough to actually give you all the results on the first page. So the whole game of SEO or search is who ranks first organically. And that's where this comes in, where now going back to this, I get to understand what are the tractions coming in. And of course, we all know that mobile first is the market that is in this century and in this decade specifically. And this also adds to that, yeah, I need to focus more on mobile. My website needs to be more mobile friendly because majority of my traffic, majority of the 1 million users are coming through mobile. So if my website does not render well on mobile, I'm losing out on potential business. The second, of course, keyword ideas, I can just click this. I will get a lot of keywords along with the SEO difficulty. How difficult is it as for me as a new business, as a new website to start ranking for this. So the difficulty score, the higher, the more difficult, of course. So to start with, I would pretty much look at this, the 20s, the 47s, the 48, 40s. So anything below 50 is something I would start with because it's a brand new website. So I would get any traffic that I get, right? So go for the low hanging fruit and slowly build your momentum. And here is where, so again, if you want Nike shoes cheap, Nike shoes offer, Nike shoe sale, all of these you can club it into, offer and sale keyword category. Nike shoes blue, red, pink, white, you can put it into your color category. So clustering keywords helps you a lot. And again, I'll touch back on this as I go through to the content section. And similarly, Google Keyword Planner also works the same way. And then you have, just a moment. Yeah. And then you have content planning. I mean, we know that content is the main thing, or content is the touch point for you and or you being the business and your customer. So you need to plan your content out. You can't dump every bit of information on your website. It has to be easy for people to consume. That, see, imagine this slide, right? I've broken it down into 3 parts so that visually also you can actually go through it with ease. And there's not a lot of information, but still, if you read the sentences, it actually is information in itself. So that's a skill in itself, content writing, but you can definitely plan things out to start with. And one of the hacks that we use to identify, so the question might be, okay, I have keyword categories now. How can I start writing blogs, or where can I start writing blogs? What topics do I write down? So that's again where our friendly search engine comes into picture, where literally, say, if I'm looking at Nike shoes, what you do is go, let me go to google.com. So log on to google.com, type in URL, no space. So this is basically you giving a command to the Google search engine that I want something in this URL. So I'm saying blog, because what I'm doing here, I'm actually searching for blogs. So in URL, any website URL now that Google shows needs to have blog. And what I'm saying is Nike shoes. So this Nike shoes can be anything that you want. It can be flower markets. It can be, digital marketing agency. It can be a design studio. It can be an interior design service, anything, right? So now, because I am a seller, I'm looking at Nike shoes. And what this does is this shows you every blog. So if you see in the URL, there is blog present, right? So literally every blog article that is there talking about Nike shoes is visible. And what you can do is you can go on, and this is when you actually go beyond the 3rd page of Google to find out what are the topics people are actually talking about, so that you can also understand and plan your content in the same way. So if you see, this is one content that I see is quite interesting. So I can write a blog on running shoes versus training shoes. There's something talking about sneaker bots. So I can look into this and maybe have this as one of my content pillars. So again, what you can do is keep changing your keywords. So I see Nike shoes, Jordan. So if you see, this is talking about every blog there is, which is talking about Jordans, right? So this is talking about Jordan itself having a sneaker blog of its own. You have sneaker news, of course, every Jordan release there is. So similarly, again, I keep saying this, so it's Nike. So you might feel that it's quite easy and everything, but once you actually do it for your brand, you will actually, or your actual competitors, you'll start to see that this sort of is literally, while that's why I said you have to do it with me, right? So through the end of the session, you already have blog topics ready, you have a rough idea of content plan ready, you have keywords ready, you know what is to execute and how do you plan things out. And that's something powerful, because you're not just going in and trying to figure out and ride the wave, but you're going in with a plan, and planning never fails. So then you have media planning. This is quite a simple one, but I just want to cover it in a way where it's more logical. So with media planning, it's about selecting what social media channels actually work for your business, for your market. And for each channel, you need to identify and set a certain goal or a KPI, right? Of course, your business KPI is maximizing revenues, maximizing profit, increasing business. You can't put the same KPI on all your digital channels because it takes some time for it to actually add to your revenue, add to your bank account, add to your business going global. But once you start being very, very thorough with what you're expecting from social media channels and which channel, it becomes quite easy. So what I would do ideally is, again, looking at my competitors and everything, and considering I'm starting from zero, right? And I'm not running ads. So what I would do is, okay, can I get to 100 followers on my social media channels, 100 engaging followers? Uh, and that's the goal. And I'm looking at, okay, Instagram, I need 100 followers. Facebook, I need 100 followers. Twitter, maybe I can aim for 50 because it's a little more needing of efforts. So this way, I have a clear-cut goal that, okay, this is the KPI that I'm looking at. And maybe from Facebook, I can also see, okay, from the 100 followers, can I expect 20 people coming to my website or finding my website from Facebook? Now that's a clear KPI for me. So what I would do for this strategy, start writing blogs and publishing it on Facebook, promoting my website blogs on Facebook so that people land on my website. And this is something I can do because I have already preset or decided my KPIs for each of the channel. And quickly running through how you choose your social media channel. One is the market trend. What channels are your competitors popular on? What industry are you in? Does Facebook actually work for your industry? Is it actually popular in your region? Snapchat is popular in MENA regions and everything. So each particular channel has its own distinct user group and everything. So you need to understand the market trend for that. The second thing again is defined by your customer consumption behavior, which is what sort of content. So that's again coming to media planning, where what sort of content do your audience actually consume? Do they consume video content more? Then you have a clear option of YouTube or Instagram with IGTV. Do they consume blogs more? Then you can still go into Facebook, you can go to Twitter, LinkedIn. Do they consume more of imagery? Do they want more infographics, carousels? So you have Instagram as the choice. So again, adding into stage one, once you are doing the identification, you start to plan that, okay, this is what is going to help you with your brand, and start identifying the channels. So now that I have my channel set, it's up to content strategy. And that's where now we also identified what format of content works on which particular channel. And these are quick snapshots of content calendars that we use. So one, if you see the hack here is have a channel-wise content calendar. So what I mean by that is if you see this particular snapshot on the left, which is a snapshot of an Excel sheet, in the same content calendar or the same day or the same week, I know what is going up on Facebook, I know what's going up on Google+, I know what's going up on Pinterest, Twitter. So that way, me as a brand, or a brand owner, get a holistic understanding, or a content planner, get a holistic understanding that this is the content that is planned for the week going on individual channels. And you can take it up a notch. You can use tools like Asana or Trello. These are again free tools that you can use to plan your content out. And the best part is it will make sure that you stick to the deadlines, because you can you keep getting email reminders that you have to post something here, you have to post something here, this is due. And these are very easy tools for you to collaborate with. So if you already have a design team in place, you have a content team in place, a Trello board or an Asana can actually help you and your team collaborate and communicate with these, especially when it comes to content planning and strategy. So far, so good. Stage 3 is where we are at.
Yes, everything is looking good and people are enjoying.
No, I'm not paying attention to the chat. I hope you are.
It's all good. I'm paying attention, but yeah, everything is going great. Thank you. Your voice is coming in and out a little bit sometimes. It seems to be maybe like the connection with the audio, but I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm sometimes that happens on a computer. But if ever
just let me know if it's even slightly annoying or if I'm not audible, I'll try rejoining again.
Okay, I think it's good. Do you have headphones by chance or no?
No, not at the moment.
No, okay. I think it's good. Like it's generally pretty stable, but just every once in a while we lose your voice a bit, but it's not for very long, so it's all good.
Oh, okay, perfect. So again, feel free to chime in when it gets even the slightest annoying, because I get annoyed if audios in and out, so I don't want anyone else to go through the same thing.
It's all good. Thanks, Vedh.
Perfect. So we've made it to stage 3. We've understood the market, we've planned things, and this is the fun part, right? This is the fun part where you actually get to execute, you get to create content, you get to actually see your ideas, everything that is in your head, you get to see it out there, you get to see it visually. So this is the fun part, right? And yeah, this as the picture says, let the games begin, and yeah, you go in full swing, and whatever happens, the result and everything, we come to it in the stage 4 part. Stage 3 is more about you enjoying, you going through your website, identifying what can you do and actually doing it. So I think that's the fun part about digital marketing. And again, interrelated to stage 1 and stage 2, the approach, it's broken down into SEO and social media marketing. SEO, you have 2 things. So SEO, again, the goal is how can I rank number 1? How can my website, my footwear business website, rank number 1 on Google when anyone searches for any of the products or solutions or services that I'm offering? So that's literally the goal of SEO, and you can break it down into on-page and off-page. And social media, again, it's about with the entire content strategy, you having a content calendar in place. Now it's go time, right? So you start executing, you start creating content, creating statics, you start promoting it. So the SEO part or the web part, you can fairly break it down into 2 things, technical and content. On page, as the name suggests, so you have your website. On page is the optimization activities that you do on your website. Off page is the activities that you do outside your website. I'll get to what I mean by outside the website, but on page is on the website where maybe the product descriptions you work on, you make sure that your particular website, particular page loads faster. The content on your website is actually enough for the consumers or customers. And broadly, you can break it down into technical optimization and content optimization. So let me again go in for Nike.com. So this is a tool called SEO Optimer, which does the on-page optimization analysis job for me. This tells me exactly what I need to do once I analyze the entire website and get a report on how good or bad the website is. So this goes through different parameters of your technical part of your on-page website, and also as an added thing goes through social media channels of this particular website and gives you a consolidated report. So that way, again, as I said earlier, we are smart digital marketers, right? We don't spend time doing the mundane manual tasks. We spend time doing the fun and impactful tasks. So this is the report ready. So now when you go through it, it is broken down into on-page SEO, your links, which is your backlinks and everything. Usability, which is a crucial part of your website, because that is basically how easy your website is to use to your consumers. Performance, which hampers usability if your website takes more than 3 seconds to load. Chances are people Netflix show loads, or even when your YouTube video starts to buffer, people hate it. So why would you want to put your customers through the same thing? So make sure that your website is performing well and you have the social part. So I'll quickly go through each of the sections. You have the on-page part, which analyzes the title tag, which is basically the Nike website's tagline. So it is ensuring that, so yeah, with SEO and website content, there are certain character limits that come with it. So you have to make sure that you basically give yourself an elevator pitch right there. So you have certain character limits. Make sure you put the best foot forward and give a good enough description in a title that would make people want to click your particular website and it's ranking on number 1 or number 2 or even the first page of your search engine. So this tool basically dissects your entire technical part. Of course, you can explore the tool after the session. So that way it will actually describe what is H1, what is H2 to H6. So these are basically different header tags. You have 6 different header tags, H1 to H6. H1 meaning the priority is higher. So say for this page, ideally the title slide would have the H1 if you're going by hierarchy. And then your your subtext, your sub headers and everything would have anything between H2 and H6. And this is again going back to the keywords part, right? So the tool is telling you that, okay, if Air Max is your keyword, so it's breaking it down into single word keyword and phrase keywords, which are 2 or more words. So this is saying that out of Nike's website, these seem like the probable keywords. If I log in, I'll be able to give the exact keywords I need. And it is actually analyzing every page or this particular page, every piece of content on this page to see if my particular keyword is actually in the title, is it in the header tag, is it in the description. The second is the amount of content, and this is where content planning comes into picture, right? This again, these tools have the word count and everything, and they give you the analysis based on what works in the SEO market. The character limits and everything is already defined by the search engines, which is being replicated through this tool. So this tool will tell you that you need more content, and this is categorized as thin content, which means there's not enough content on this particular website. And you have image alt tags, which is your alternate name for your images also to be added. So you can go through again the entire report. You get a very good understanding. You get rankings also, right? So what keywords you're ranking for the number 1 position and what are the searches there? And you get to understand exactly how your competitors are doing. You get to understand also if this is your particular website, if you're already doing SEO, you can do it, or you can also use this for competitors, where you'll get to understand on a majority where is your competitor ranking. And of course, you have links, you have usability. So literally this tool does the job for you and gives you the order to do this, this, this. And all you have is, all you have to do is execute. And that's the technical part. Content part is similar, just like how we saw the content part here, saying that the content is thin and everything. The content tool that we've suggested or we use goes through the entire content and suggests readability issues as well, suggests where you can add keywords, etc. The off-page part, as I said, this is something which you do outside your website, right? So the idea here is to build credibility. For example, let's take Jennifer also having a footwear store, right? And Jennifer's been doing digital marketing for, say, past 2 years, 3 years. So Jennifer's website has really good traffic built up. And if Jennifer's writing blogs and everything, of course, she might be a competitor. But what I can do is if, for example, if Jennifer is like a sneaker enthusiast, so she would be having her own personal blog talking about different footwear, different sneakers and everything. So me as a sneaker brand, what I would want to do is try and get my visibility in Jennifer's audience base, customer base, or readership. So it's basically like brand endorsements, right? So if I'm having Ronaldo wear my sneakers and play a match, I get all his fans looking at, okay, what is this new sneaker that he's wearing? And I get that clout. And that's literally what you do with off-page optimization, but it's more in a old-fashioned way where you can pretty much build your credibility through backlinks. So basically Jennifer's website saying, check out Vedh's sneakers store for great deals. Now, everyone who is constantly coming into Jennifer's website for the past 2 years now see this, that, okay, Vedh's website is, Vedh's footwear store is offering good offers. So I get to get that audience who is already there, who's already my target market, and get to capitalize on that through, to my website. And how we can do this is basically these 5 circles. One is directory submissions, where I might have different blogs like these, different forums like these. So what I would do is register on these forums which are related to me and list my particular brand and my website. So that way wherever there is footfall, it's literally as though you're pinning flyers across your neighborhood and things like that, right? But it's more of a digital way. So directory submissions, business listings, you have list of businesses in and around your locality, which is online. So something which is like your yellow pages, but online, you start listing yourself there. You have linking exchange and guest posting, which is what in this case I would do with Jennifer. I would send her a mail saying, hey, I have this particular blog article where I can feature you, I can give you a backlink, and you can also feature me, maybe write a blog article for yourself and do that. So that way Jennifer also gets a backlink, I also get a backlink. That's a link exchange. Guest posting would be that I write a blog and I email Jennifer saying, hey, I've written a blog for your website. I really like your content, all that. And I see this blog that I've written fits your website well. So can you post it? And what I'm doing by this is one, of course, in the blog. And of course, this is very much visible to Jennifer that yeah, I have linked my website also. But what is happening in this process is my blog, even though for Jennifer, it's like one free blog that she's got, right? And for me, the benefit is that my particular website is featured, or even the brand name is featured on Jennifer's blog, which has over 10,000 readers every month. So that's a really great thing. And again, to emphasize on why content is important for search or web is this content discovery part. So if you see all the other four bubbles are me reaching out to people, me doing things. Content discovery is where the growth is and is where your business can scale. Because if everything is tied up to how much of manual effort you're putting in, you just have 24 hours. So you can only clock in so much. But once you start with really good content, like if you see in the guest posting example, link exchange, I know Jennifer's website is popular because of the content that Jennifer has been putting. So in the flip side, if I focus on really good content, 3 months, 4 months down the line, people would be reaching out to me and linking my blogs. Maybe they would want a link exchange. So if you see, I've sort of automated that process in a way where instead of me finding who's good, who's bad, I let people reach out to me and then start filtering through who's good, who's bad, and go on. And that's with the search part. This is the social media part. Again, there are numerous tools out in the market that helps you compete with really good designers in the market, even though you're not a designer. A few of them are Canva, Adobe Spark, Venngage, you have GIMP, so many different tools. The content creation stage of the social media marketing leg in stage 3 is pretty much the content calendar and the ad formats, the campaign formats, the content formats that you put together. It's about how do you bring them to life, right? And again, you don't need to hire a designer for that. You don't need design skills to do that. If you have it, great. You just need to look at a tool like this. If you see here on the left-hand side on the Canva thumbnail, you have different templates you can choose from. You change the content, you download the image and you post it. And it's as simple. Canva recently also updated where you can actually do videos using Canva, and it's again completely free. You have Adobe Spark, which is from Adobe, where you can actually get some really good photo edits. So if you're taking a photograph of your project using your phone, your product using your phone, you can actually take photographs.
Sorry about that. Someone was
I think someone's quite excited. Yeah, I think the Q&A will be in 10 more minutes and we can open up for questions.
That's okay. Yeah, guys, just make sure to stay on mute until we get to the Q&A. We have some alien technical sounds coming into the session. So. Okay. Continue.
Yeah, again, that's the power of digital marketing, right? You put out a post, you don't know who's going to see it and attend the webinar.
Yeah. Okay, you can continue.
Yep, coming back. So yeah, you have Adobe Spark, which is really good for photography. If you have a product photo and you want to work with that, you can use Adobe Spark. And you have Venngage, which is for really good infographics. So if you want to put a lot of content, informational, educational content, you can go for Venngage. Again, you have different tools. You can just search for a online design tool and you get it. The next is the interesting part, right? I have my content ready, I have my creatives ready, I have all my graphics and everything ready. So how do I promote it? How do I actually get people to see it? So there's no hack here, right? There's no secret that, okay, do these 10 things and you'll get 1 million followers in no time. It's more about consistency and quality. And there's a fine line between consistency and quality where it's not just about putting out a post every day, but putting out quality post. It need not be the best post, but it needs to be a good post. Don't just put out a piece of content because you want to keep that streak of, okay, I'm 45 days into this and I want to put out a post every day. So that's the only tip that any one of us can give, because that's what has worked for us. And a few tricks here and there, what you can do is monitor and adopt to market trends. What I mean by that is, if you saw the Foot Locker example there, where they actually rode the wave of Space Jam movie being released. So that's your market trend, right? So there's something happening. Say Olympics is happening. So you can actually come out with creators which look more sporty, which might pay homage to your country participating in it, or the Olympic sport itself, and start writing on something which is topical, which is in the new, which is actually being spoken about in different circles on social media, and try to adapt that into your content. The second is, of course, usage of hashtags and tags. So if I'm creating a post about my sneakers and connecting it to the Olympics, what I would do is I would definitely use all the hashtags related to Olympics, because people are already tuning in using those hashtags. And I would start tagging Olympics and the different channels that are actually connected to Olympics. Again, based on the post. I'm not asking anyone to go ahead and spam any different page, but it's more about, if it is relevant, you can definitely go ahead and tag them. There's no harm in that, because again, as you know, either Instagram or Facebook, you get notified if you're following Olympics and someone is tagging it, you can also actually see this post. So that's how you broaden the reach. And the third one, which is a more long-term thing, but definitely something that is going to propel growth and help you sustain more than anything, is having a community-based approach. So this is a two-pronged thing. One, build a community with your own social media channels and everything, where make sure, again, the quality content that you're putting out, make sure that people actually start maybe chatting in the comment section that, okay, this is what it is, this is what it is, maybe a healthy debate in the comment section or anything, so that you build that community. Second thing, try to look at Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, Twitter hashtags, where there's already a community there, and try to see how you can add value to that. So bring in a community which is already set and build a community, so that again, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year down the line, your community is now doing the selling for you. And that's something that will definitely help you grow and sustain in the long run. And yeah, this is the last stage of everything. You put out posts, you've identified your market, you've done your competitor research, you've strategized, you've ideated, you've planned, you've executed. And what's left is to analyze and innovate, right? So this is where you, from an underdog, becomes a champion. And this is only through you understanding data. And if you go back to the very first slide, the D in digital marketing stands for data. This is how it comes in. This is where it is actually powerful, where now from posting the different social media posts, the blogs, optimizing your website and everything, through different tools, you get to capture data and understand exactly what is working, what is not. And the data that you would get is an understanding of from which city a person is coming from, what are the interests of the people looking at your particular post, how many people have read your blog, how much time have people read your blog, what is the gender ratio, what devices are people using. And all of these are data points that you can use to come up with your next article, your next post, your next campaign. Because when you see that in the market right now, almost 70% of the traffic in the entire world is through mobile. So now if you take that onto your website, you would probably get about 75, 80% of the traffic coming in through mobile. So what you would do is use that data to make sure that your, any blog you put out, any page that you develop is mobile first. And that's going to help you grow. And that's now going to make you the competition that people look for. That's going to make you the benchmark that people would actually look at and say, okay, I want to do what this brand is doing because they seem to have cracked the code. And again, with digital marketing, you have a lot of tools that help you with this. What we would suggest, or the trifecta of what we suggest, would be using Google Analytics with Google Tag Manager. So this particular tool is what is going to tell you how many people have come to your website. So anything and everything you want to know around your website. How much time did this person spend on this? How many times did this person add the product to the cart and not buy it? Everything and anything, how many clicks happened. And using tools like Hotjar, you can actually screen record your entire customer journey on your website. And these are something powerful that if you know how to use it, you would get so much data about your customers that each and every content and update that you put out, you can very well tailor make it to the particular user. And of course, social media, I would, again, there are a lot of paid tools and everything, but start with the native social media tools, Instagram analytics tools, your Facebook business insights. These are really great tools to start with. And of course, what you can do, again, we are smart marketers. So what we would do is use dashboards using Google Data Studio, where literally now if you see, you have to go to Google Analytics, you'll have to go to Facebook. Imagine you have LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest. So you have so many different analytics tools that you have to go through. Instead, build a Google Data Studio dashboard where you source everything. So if you see, this is a screenshot of one dashboard where I literally have all my channels. This is of course for ads, but you can do the same thing for organic, where you in a quick snapshot, and you can get this on email. You can set alerts that every morning I want an email of how my previous day went, and you'll get it right to your inbox. You don't even have to lift a finger. And by this, I would say definitely with all my confidence that you would start seeing results. And we have a few launches also in the session. So they would definitely attest for it that this is what we've been doing as our secret sauce, which is not a secret anymore, and has been working for many brands across the globe, B2B and B2C. And yep, thank you for being patient with me, and we are open to questions.
Thank you, Vedh. That was amazing. It's really incredible how many tools and resources are out there that we don't know about that can help us build like such important foundational things. And I love how you talked about consistency and quality over just, posting to post. And I think right now that's so important online, because as we speak about often in our events is like the online world right now is just very saturated. And so when you take the time to do things in a high quality way, you really do stand out. So I do have 2 questions that came into the chat, and then we can open up for people to unmute. I answered this question in the chat, but I would love to hear just your thoughts on it. Someone was asking for SSL, if it's something that's free or included, or it's something they have to pay for and renew every year. So what I mentioned is that from what I've seen is there are some hosting companies that just include it in the hosting, such as Flywheel, which is what I use for my website hosting. And then there's others like GoDaddy where you have to add it as an add-on and renew every year. But maybe there's something more in between there that you know about.
Yeah, so you have this community, which is again an open source community called Let's Encrypt. So they give you SSLs for free. Of course, there are a few conditions that only these particular sort of websites are eligible for it. But again, Let's Encrypt gives you SSLs for free. Especially since we're talking about the subject of e-commerce, all of our websites would have a payment gateway or a sign-up option, right? So if you see, Google Chrome is taking a stand towards security, where if the whole connection isn't secure, they would not let the user actually go to the particular site. You have seen the block that comes from Chrome itself that, are you sure you want to advance? This seems risky if your site doesn't have an SSL. So even if SSL would hardly cost about $1 or so, or you have again free SSLs, I would definitely say that you get an SSL.
Yeah, I think it's really essential now, and it makes a huge difference in your credibility in relation to Google. So, okay, the next question is from Ruba. She just mentioned SEO difficulty of 79. She's asking if that's considered high, and how do we know how to rate it?
So the SEO difficulty on the tool is from 0 to 100, right? So what you can do is, on Google Keyword Planner, actually, what you'll be able to see, or let me go to Google Suggest. My screen's still visible, right? So here we have 74, 49 and everything. The second thing that you also see, and this is because we've been looking at this console for like day in, day out, right? So we know how to read the data. So how the trick to this is firstly look at the volume. So look at, okay, to get 33,000 volume, which is the average search. And of course, you won't get 33,000 from just this keyword because that's the overall search potential in the country. So look at this volume and look at the difficulty while you are selecting the keywords. And look at, okay, if this is 86 and 33,000, I know for sure I'm never going to rank for this keyword because it's going to take quite a bit and quite a few years, in fact, for me to rank for this keyword. The sweet spot, as I said, is anywhere below the 40 to 50 range. If you're using Google Suggest for keyword difficulty, if you're using Keyword Planner, they say low, medium, high. If I was starting out, I would definitely go for 20. I would go for 20. I'm happy if I get 10% of this user base onto my website because 1,500, 1,400 people coming to my website just by one keyword is still great. So I'm happy with that. It's fairly easier also as it suggests. So I would recommend if you're fairly new with SEO and everything, go with the low competitive keywords and then work your way up because look at it as you building army, right? For you to capture territory on the search engine page, start expanding your army. Don't have to get Goliath only and have him in my army, but look at, okay, let me start with someone who at least can do something basic and get some basic traffic and slowly start building. So now I get this 20 and I see another 20. Okay, let me do this 37, 36. So slowly, if you add up the volume, and of course, there's no way you're going to get all this volume added up. But if you add up the volume and even take 2%, 3% of the volume, that's really good traffic coming into your website.
Okay. Perfect. Makes sense.
And also a quick thing, I think most of you are joining through your laptop. So if you want to also chat after this session with me or any of the launchers, also we'd love to help you guys. You can scan the QR code, follow us, message us, anything also.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just adding something here in the chat for us in a second. Okay, great. I'm actually just going to launch the poll so people can fill it out slowly as we continue to ask questions. So if you guys have a moment to just fill this out. Is there anyone else who has questions? You can just unmute yourself and ask any questions you might have. And just to, because I know some people kind of trickled in late, just as a reminder, the resources, slides, and recording from the session is going to be shared in Ecom Connect. We share it in the description in the events description, sorry, and I'm putting the link in the chat right now. And you just need to make sure that you are signed up to Ecom Connect to access that. So that has just been put in the chat for you. So you'll be able to review all of this after, because I know that there's so many great tools and content here. So yeah, let's see if anyone wants to unmute and ask any questions. There was so much great information here. So many tools that I've been actually, I'm a business advisor now, but I've been in business for 12 years and I've been in this tech stuff for like 12 years. And there's so many tools in here that I never knew existed. Like I've, been building my own websites, building websites for clients, doing SEO and all that stuff. So there's really some great tools in here that I didn't even know existed. Preeti asked, does the SEO content be visible country-wise?
Oh, what is the question?
Is the SEO content, I'm not sure. Preeti, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'll just tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Vedh. The question is basically, if I'm trying to target customers in the US or Europe, I'm told that unless you have a registered office in that country, it's difficult to get the SEO visibility. Is that true?
Not really. I mean, partly, but I won't say you have to be like registered or have a different domain. People usually opt for different domains so that they can cater to that market easier. Where, say, for example, if I have a website, all the pages of my website not be able to rank in all the regions, right? So, I mean, for that to happen, you have to think from a content standpoint. Let's take First Launch, right? So, First Launch as a digital marketing agency in India, if I want to rank for people looking from or UK or Australia for a digital marketing agency in India, I would have to have specific pages for it. So, what I would do is I would have a page on my website, singfirstlaunch.in/digital-marketing-agency-US. And in that page, I will talk about everything saying, okay, if you're a US brand, we can do this, and have that keyword of digital marketing agency US repeated quite a few times. Maybe I might have a sub micro site itself. So what I would do under this page itself, I will create service wing catering to the US and everything. And that way now, if you see, I have my main website, which doesn't have any location attached to it. It's going to serve for anyone and everyone on the web. It's going to cater to everyone. I have individual location-based pages, just like how I would have individual product pages and service pages, which caters specifically to a particular region.
Okay.
Just to add on to that, because I have specific region-wise pages, the images that I would use would be people from those regions itself. So that way, a bit of confidence is there that, they seem to be professionals, or at least you already have that ice breaking of, okay, this looks something like it's familiar for me, and do a little bit of, that's the user experience work that you can do to make sure that, they don't feel iffy about your site.
Sure. And because I have a separate global website, the reason being, when we have export inquiries, people look at the India site and they expect those rates. So right now we're just building the global website, and I wanted your advice on that. So can I
for SEO? For SEO, we do prefer individual region-wise pages, because it's easy for us also to fully dive in and say, okay, this is only for India. So let's focus fully under that. I might create South India as one page, North India as one page. But if it's just a global site, there's too many things that we can't do because I have to talk to a global audience.
Okay, so we can focus on specific countries from where we are expecting business, right?
Yes, because again, you're not going to cater to the entire world to start with, right? So you can pick 3 countries, 4 countries, build content around that. That should happen.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. It was nice to see you, by the way, also. It was hard to find you in the big group of people. Always nice to see familiar faces. I just want to share that Veronica just shared that you have really demystified digital marketing, that she was having such a difficult time with it. She says, thank you, Vedh and ITC. I will go through the video again and again. Oh, did you get that?
Yes, I got it. So Veronica, you can definitely reach out to any one of us.
Yeah, everyone's really enjoying this session. Is there any other questions? Does anyone else want to unmute or pop it in the chat? However works best for you. We still have a couple of minutes. Okay, so we have someone who asks, which SEO is quite accessible to the US, Africa, and the UK?
By which SEO, what do you mean?
Are you able to unmute and explain a bit more your question?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vedh. Yeah, my question is because there are some websites that you can access from Africa. It's quite difficult to access. And I'm looking at a website whereby it's quite accessible to the US, Africa, and probably Asia. So I don't know which one you can recommend.
So, okay, you are talking about an SEO tool that you can access from these regions. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. So yeah, you have SEO Optimer, which I had shared in this you have SEMrush, which again works well in Africa. You have Alexa that should work. You have called small SEO tools. I'll just ping it in the chat.
Okay.
Name suggests, so this website has small SEO tools, literally. So each
This one, right?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this particular tool, if you go on to this, it breaks down each and every concept of SEO into a smaller tool. And I mean, I presume this should be accessible. If not, still you can reach out to us on social media or anything, because we'll also have to verify that it's working in Africa and then share the tools with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to try this and see how it goes. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Take care.
Aurora Bena is asking, how can I access Google Analytics? You can just sign up to Google Analytics. I think it's google.analytics. Let me get the analytics.
You can just search for Google Analytics and you will get it.
Yeah, you can just sign up for free. I'll pop the link in here. Yeah, there we go. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, you can just sign up here, and I think it's definitely like foundational thing to do, to just have a tracking number in your website. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any more questions?
Hello.
Hi, Shirley.
Yeah, I have a one question because there are so many domains like that country-wise. For example, Sri Lanka is domain is .lk, India is .in, and if we purchase the Sri Lankan domain and our target market is in USA, some technical advisors tells me if your target market in USA, your LK domain is not suitable because search engine always looking for country-wise domain, and then what's the suitable domain if I wish to target in USA?
Okay, if I've understood that right, you are saying that you have a domain which has maybe a .co.uk or .eu, .in, and you're saying your target market is US. You couldn't get the .com, and you're asking if your question, I mean, if I've got your question right, you're asking if this would work with a different country domain and promoting yourself in US.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
No, was that your question?
Yeah, and because I'm in Sri Lanka, because if I use the LK domain, but my target market is in USA, should I change my domain to LK to .com?
.com is more preferable, but from an SEO standpoint, especially in this day and age, .com, .in doesn't work. And you can look at the first launch website itself, right? It's firstlaunch.in. And we rank in US, Australia, Dubai as well, and get traffic from these regions. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's more about the vanity part that the .com looks cooler than maybe a .in or .co.uk, but it's just that.
Okay, right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And I think I would like to make a small suggestion. If you could share this recorded video to our email, more helpful for our reference.
Sure. I mean, Jennifer, you can take.
Sorry,
But I think
I was.
that can be done. That's not a problem.
Sorry, I was muted. We actually don't share it by email after the event. It's going to be shared in Ecom Connect in the event description, which I put in the chat. But we do send out a newsletter in Ecom Connect every week, every Friday. And in that newsletter, we any events that we had during the week, we do put in that newsletter. So best place to go is to sign up to Ecom Connect, and you'll be able to get the recording and all the resources in there.
Okay, hi, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Do we have any more questions? Feeling complete? I think we're feeling complete. This was a really, really fantastic session, Vedh. Just like so much valuable information. And I think that, yeah, we'll definitely put all the links and everything to these wonderful tools and resources. Oh, hang on, we have Amina who has her hand up. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I wanted to ask, is it possible to recover files that I have lost to my website? I mean, if I got someone else to build the site and then I lost the files, how possible is it to recover everything?
You need some sort of access at least to recover it. Because if you have nothing at all, what you can do maybe is just, there are third-party tools. You can view third-party tools. If the website is actually live, you can get a content dump of the entire website. There are third-party tools. Just extract the content and everything and whatever source code is visible. And that's one way to do it. But again, you won't get the entire backend part of it. That's something you can forget. But at least the content that you have, maybe the links, the blog articles, that's something you should be able to salvage. So I can get back to you on the exact tools. I'm not able to recall it, but there should be tools that do that. But you can't get complete access of your website. So that's something completely different. What I'm talking about is you can recover at least the content which was there on the site and everything.
Okay, can I get access to the tools like later? Maybe if I contact you on LinkedIn or something.
Sorry?
Would you be open to me connecting with you on LinkedIn so I can get the tools I could use to?
Sure. So the QR code that you see on the screen, so that has, the First Launch website, our Instagram page, as well as my LinkedIn. So you would get right. You would connect and take.
You.
All right. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please, before we go off?
Yes.
About Google Analytics. My name is Rabna Winglo.
Hi.
How do I get Google information from Google Analytics about my website? Do I plant it on my website or just type in my website address and then I can analyze what's going on my website?
Yeah, for Google Analytics, so once you create an analytics account, it will give you a snippet of code that you have to add to your website.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear.
Hello? Can you?
I think.
Could you hear me, please?
Yeah, I think your connection is maybe cutting out a bit because we can hear Vedh. He's explaining to you how to do that. Can you hear us now? I think her connection is maybe a bit choppy.
At least for the others. So what you can do is once you sign into analytics, you get a snippet of code, which you can attach to your website. It's like a key that you give that, yeah, you can crawl my website and understand exactly what's happening on my website and represent it. If you're not able to do that for some reason, what you can do is use this tool, SEO Optimer, that you see on screen. This is exactly what the doubt was. I mean, you just key in the website on this, like I had showed here, where, like, I mean, of course, I don't own the Nike.com website, right? So I can just key in any website, including mine, and I'll get a complete report on how the website is doing. So that's one way to start with. And I would definitely advise integrate analytics. It's a very simple way to do it, but if it's not, then yeah, SEO Optimer is something you can settle for.
Thank you.
Vedh, my line dropped, so I didn't really get most of what you said. Did you say I will need to input the Google Analytics, integrate it into my site, or I always need to?
Yeah, you need to integrate it onto your site. We lost her again.
I think so, yeah. But worst case, she can go back to the recording and listen to your answer. So, okay, we have someone who asked.
My line is so unstable.
Yeah, I think it would be best to go back to the recording after. Because we shared the explanation.
Wow.
Okay. We have someone asking, which tool is used to know the rate of sales of a commodity on Google?
Okay, I did go through that question. I'm trying to understand what the question is about. So if you're talking about, say again, let's take Nike, right? If you want to understand what is the sales that Nike shoe does on the website, you can't get that data. Like imagine your competitors getting data of how much sales you are doing on your website. Right? That's something you can't get. You can get an estimate of traffic. So everything on the digital front is traffic. It's not like you can actually see how many people are buying a shoe and for what cost and everything. That's again coming down to your offline connections that you have and how you can actually do offline market research to understand what is the volume of goods sold in that particular market.
Thank you, Vedh. So the follow-up question is when, please, and where?
When, please, and
are you able to unmute yourself just so we can?
I think it was a reply to Kena. If I'm.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Do we have any more questions before we tie up the session? So we will be sharing everything in Ecom Connect. So make sure to join us in there. And we will be posting once the recording and resources are in the event description, we'll be posting on the newsfeed to let you know. Vedh, thank you so much for the session. It was really incredible. I did share your LinkedIn link in the chat so people could go find you on LinkedIn as well. And
thank you.
Yeah, it was just really great having you. We really appreciate it. It was a fantastic session.
Yep, likewise. I did enjoy going through the whole thing. And I think the ecom community also, as I was mentioning you off the session also, right? Like even before the session, I got people like commenting that they're looking forward to the session. And I think it's just quite cool to have a community like that.
Yeah, it's true. And honestly, our community is so, so great. So supportive between each other and very engaging. All of these events that we do are really wonderful. So we would love to have you in the community. And yeah, we have some next really great events coming up. So yes, we have lots of great comments about the session in the chat. So great. Well, I will close off this room and wishing everyone a really wonderful end of day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys and take care.
You too. Bye-bye.